So,
definitely.
speaking of media, there is drama at the Oscars because the Barbie movie was nominated for Best Film, which I completely disagree with. I think that movie is garbage. But people are upset that Greta Gerwig was not nominated for Best Director and Margot Robbie was not nominated for Best Actress. And they're really even more upset because Ryan Gosling was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So they feel that the movie's central premise has been proven because the patriarchy is favoring Ken, but not Barbie. Now, of course, America Ferrera was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress. So, like, that, I'm not seeing that in headlines very much. That doesn't seem to pop up very much because it doesn't fit the narrative very well. What are your... so you saw it with me. We went and saw it with our oldest daughter. How do you feel about being... First of all, how do you feel about it being on the list of 10 best films of the year?
I didn't enjoy it, first of all. I didn't enjoy it. But that's a singular opinion, you know? I didn't think it was that good. And what surprises me is I wonder if they saw their own movie. Because essentially it was about Ken. Right. You know, like that really... They talked so much about the patriarchy and this and that, but I don't think they understand that in doing that, they put focus on his character and his character's arc. Yeah. And Barbie definitely had an arc in that movie, but I think that Ken's was stronger and just the way it was written. It wasn't even a performance-based thing. I think that their movie was more about Ken and his experience than Barbie and hers. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm shocked that they're shocked.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I'm just about to say. Like, I'm so surprised. Like, how did you watch that movie and think, yes, Margot Robbie was the star of this? She wasn't. I mean, like, she was literally stereotypical Barbie. So, like, part of the way the movie was written is that she was kind of a blank slate that anybody could put themselves on. She was stereotypical Barbie. So she didn't really have much character to begin. Like you said, she had sort of an arc. I don't even know that I would call it a full character arc. She kind of had this, like, I want to go on self-discovery journey, but it was never firmly established why. There was really never a good reason other than, like, the influence from America Ferrera on her. So, like, she had this external pressure that made her want to go on a journey, but she didn't really have any kind of internal
I don't know.
problem.
I think that she had a sort of she became discontented with this perfect plastic life that she was living. And I think that her whole arc was wanting to find vulnerability, wanting to find, you know, comfort and flaws. And, you know, I don't know. I think that that was her arc, is that she wanted to stop being so stereotypical and be an individual, have a real life, you know, human experiences.
See, I don't think they established that very well, because at first the inciting incident is that she's thinking about death or whatever, but that's like from the person who's playing with her. So it really isn't even her journey. Like, she is a surrogate for America Ferrera's journey with her daughter and her life and her discontent and whatever. So, like, to me, America Ferrera getting nominated makes sense because her character actually had somewhat of an arc. She was unhappy and then she reconnected with her daughter. I thought it was pretty flimsy, but it did happen. And Ken, he really is the star of the show. He's the only one that I think can be called a character. He already has self-doubts at the beginning. He already has an internal struggle. He goes on an actual journey of self-discovery. Most of the movie really is about him. I think he's the only one that's written as a character. And I've also talked about this in videos, and people tell me what they think Barbie is about. And I think none of them are actually wrong, because Barbie wanted to be about 8 different things. Greta wanted to tell us 8 different things, and she started to tell us 8 different stories and 8 different messages in that movie. So everybody, in a sense, the whole movie is kind of stereotypical Barbie, because you can call it a feminist film. You could call it a fun family film. You could say that it was about the patriarchy. You could say it wasn't about the patriarchy. You could say it was about equality, gender equality. You could say it was about so many things, because it tried to start all those threads and didn't tie up any of them. Yeah. And so for that, I'm like, yeah, of course Greta didn't get nominated for Best Director, because it was a sloppily performed, written movie. Like, it just was not a cohesive package. It wasn't saying anything very profound, and it didn't do it in a profound way.
The only cohesive, clear storyline was Ken's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it makes perfect sense that Gosling got the nomination for that. And even that, I could see somebody arguing that like, the only reason he looks so good is because he's the only well-written character in the entire thing. Like, I do think Gosling did a good performance, but I also think pretty much anybody could have pulled that off, and they would have looked incredible next to all of these plastic, phony people. I mean, that's the inherent problem with writing that movie is everybody is kind of phony and plastic because it's about dolls. Well, then the one person that's not, great. Everybody's like, oh my God, I love Ken so much. Well, yeah, of course you do. Yeah. He actually has a story to resonate
He's
with.
Flawed, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true.
So, you know, I think it's hilarious that it's such a snub. And I think part of that is that it just made a bunch of money. And I think that's another issue that, like, it cleaned up at People's Choice Awards, which makes perfect sense. Everybody had a good time. It made tons of money. But the Oscars are about films, right? It's very highbrow. And so something like American Fiction, something like Anatomy of a Fall, what's the other one? The Holdovers, Oppenheimer. These were very serious movies, very filmy type movies. And Barbie just wasn't. And, you know, I mean, it made over $1 billion. So did the Mario movie. But you know what? It's not a snub that the Mario movie wasn't nominated for Best Film or Best Director or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that calling it a controversy it's insane. It's just the internet being the internet. They just like to be angry about things. And it doesn't have to make sense. They just like to be angry about it.
Yeah. So. I think people wanted it to be better than it was. Mm-hmm. I think people went wanting it to be amazing. And I think a lot of people did enjoy it, but those aren't people who are nominating movies for awards. You know what I mean?
I liked the first 20 minutes of it. I thought they had...
that was the very beginning was with the dolls, and you can't be I don't know. I feel like they came out of the gate attacking mothers.
See, but I can see how it looks that way, but I thought they went so overboard in the beginning that it looked like they were doing like a satire thing. To me, it looked like Barbie Land and the beginning. I mean, they're comparing themselves to Space Odyssey. Like, it's, you know, on people's list of greatest films ever. And they're like, yeah, this Barbie movie is just like Space Odyssey. Like, it's clearly self-referential, you know, humor. And then they're like, the Barbies can do anything, or at least that's what they think in Barbie Land. So the first 20 minutes to me felt like the beginnings of a really great satire movie about how silly culture surrounding Barbie is, or they were gonna do like some kind of cultural talking point, right? And use it as this satire thing. And then once they left Barbie Land, it's like they forgot that they were doing that, and they wanted to make a different movie at that point. So I can see how people were upset at the beginning, because they were basically like, look, mothers are like cavemen. But to me, if they had continued the campy tone, they could have pulled off, like, we don't really think that. We're yucking it up to make like a different point kind of thing. Yeah,
maybe I just went in with my hackles up, but when I saw that, I wouldn't go as far as to say I was offended. I mean, it's a movie. It doesn't offend me, but right from the jump, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing.
This, yeah.
This is what we're doing. Okay, I see how this goes. Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't offended by it, but at the same time, I do think that it is a pervasive message in Hollywood that to be a wife and a mother is an unacceptable path. Mm-hmm. You're somehow doing harm to other women by choosing that life for yourself. And it was just another vote for that opinion in my book, and I don't know. It just put me off right at the beginning. Yeah. So
I get that. I mean, I guess that message kind of there was obviously like the pregnant Barbie. They were like, she's weird, shuffle her off. But I guess even in the remainder of it, America Ferrera's character wants to have like this career, and it's destroying her relationship with her daughter. So the message sort of is like, you can't do both, right? She wants to have this career, and the daughter she's losing that. And she's also she basically has no husband. I mean, he's there. He showed up.
He's the stereotypical white guy husband.
Oh my goodness. I wanted to be so mad at the Duolingo. If it wasn't accurate, I would have been angry.
I felt attacked in the beginning. That's where they came for you. That one.
And when they talk about watching Pride and Prejudice so many times.
Oh my gosh, right? I was like, oh my gosh, am I depressed?
If they had brought up Gilmore Girls, it would have just been speaking directly at you.
Too much.